entrepreneurship is more, it's the myth that someone wants to just work for himself and he doesn't want to work for somebody else is just a myth. And I think it's just incidental, and that someone does not want to work for somebody else. But every entrepreneur starts life with a purpose of either solving a problem or solving a or making something which is running already more efficient, and create a business proposition out of it, create jobs out of it. At any day, entrepreneurship is about starting up and live for a purpose, and purpose is to solve somebody's problem or to help him solve a problem the other way. So my father was in services, and I'm the first generation entrepreneur. But always my father was a very different kind of personality. He gave me the freedom, and when I went to him at the age of 17, I said, I finished 12th, now I want to become an entrepreneur. And all I know is I want to become an entrepreneur. I don't know what problems to solve. I don't know what is the business I want to get into, what am I interested in, or where am I going to get money from. Nothing. So all I told him was, like, I have 3 years. 3 years of my life I can choose to be in a college and in a campus, or I can be, the whole world could be my campus. And went and joined someone who's running a HR services consultancy firm, and started looking at the world from a different perspective. So the world was my learning stage, I would say. And I did my graduation side by side. I told him 3 years I'll complete my graduation, and but meanwhile give me this 3 years to learn. So I did learn a lot of things and traveled around on business, on either helping somebody build business or on my own trying to explore things. So I am a first generation entrepreneur, but I did have the support of my parents, not in terms of money, but in terms of the encouragement and giving me the freedom to go ahead and do what I wanted to do. Let me say this, my father, though he was in services, he always wanted to become an entrepreneur, but the compulsion of running a family, he's got his brothers and sisters, and then there's a wife, his kids. To break away from that and then actually get into entrepreneurship was something he was finding it very difficult. So that fire was always in his mind as well. The biggest turning point for me was when he got transferred. He was working for an airline, so we got transferred to Coimbatore. Coimbatore is a place where everybody is an entrepreneur. It's like Gujarat. So every small guy, and probably 10-15-year-old guy to 60-year-old, or until he breathes his last, they all think of only entrepreneurship. Either they want to set up a small mechanic shop, they want to set up a grocery shop, or they want to, on the side when they're attending school, they buy clothes in bulk from Gujarat and all of that, and then start distributing that. Everybody was an entrepreneur. Every housewife was an entrepreneur. So that place is like I would say Makkah of entrepreneurship in probably South. And for the whole of India, I'm sure it is Gujarat, I would say. So that place seeded this idea of being on your own and trying to create something rather than be part of something. And the fire was actually right from it started from Coimbatore, because I never attended a formal school of education. So I always looked for simplicity in everything that I wanted to see, either be it investments, be it trading, be it doing a business, understanding something. And the most complicated subject was finance. And for people, again, I'll take place of Gujarat, where everybody understands finance back of his palm, and it runs in their blood. Not so for others in this country. So you don't know, you pick up stock exchange, you think that's a place to gamble. And where in other parts of the world, stock exchange is a place where uh, people with little money help, pool in all the little money, make it into a big pool, and then you help businesses grow. So that it was never seen as an investment. It was never seen as another asset class where people can actually invest and uh, look at being part of somebody else's business. So we started off with an initiative. I had a problem where I take my positions in the market and fly out. By the time I come back, either it's lost or when the market is turned around, we're in a bad shape. I never had the empowerment of what a institutional trader or institutional investor had at that point of time. So I'm thinking as a common man, and a common man did not have the empowerment, did not have the wherewithal to get information, do the right analysis, comprehend it into simple English, and then translate it into an action, either investment or an exit into a market. So I saw there's a potential, and the potential was aided by the fact that mobile industry was also growing, and everybody started having smartphones in their hand. And it was a given 7 years back. We knew, or we probably took a bet saying that everybody will have smartphone in their hand, internet will come into everybody's hands, and that is going to be a change agent. So introducing a system driven or a platform which is given in the hands of an investor to simplify the entire markets for him, to understand information better, and analyze the markets in simple English more better, and then able to invest in the markets right and exit right, is something that we wanted to create. And then we did create the platform called Market Simplified. This is in simple terms. And we wanted to launch this platform and go and connect to financial institutions who sell products, who are either be it market driven products, equity products, fixed income products, all that. And we wanted to be the destination where a customer comes and then starts connecting to these organizations to do a transaction. But of course, the markets turned when we launched the product in 2008. We know how the markets were, and then the entire last 5-6 years, the world went through the worst economic period it has ever seen. So we decided to change the avatar of the product itself, and then go white label the product to the institution and give it to his customer, rather than go to the customer and then add the institution as a participant in the platform. So we went ahead and launched it in the US, and it's called Market Simplified Mobility Platform, and we have connected to all the institutions, at least 5 of the top 10 brokerages in the US, and we're now in India, Asia Pacific. So that's where we are now. We were a normal middle class family. I never got funding from the family. It was from grassroots levels. I had to start, look for angel investors, borrow money for buying the first computer, and go borrow a place from somebody else. So if you had something, you will have the fear of losing it. You had nothing anyways. I had nothing to lose, and all I had is I knew is like 3 years if I experiment my life and I am able to complete my graduation, I would have experience and graduation compared to somebody else who's got only graduation when he comes out. That was one. Second, I think to unshackle from this middle class family life, that you are cat on the wall always, you are not able to afford things that you aspire for, but you have to be there. You can't step down and live a life of a poor family, and then so that you can compromise many things and live. So you are always in the cat on the wall situation, and I think that's a frustration that I didn't want to live with, and I wanted to get out of that. And two, you had the freedom. My parents gave me the freedom. They didn't put something into my mind. It's like they they didn't want to live their life in me. And today's parents, the problem is all of them, if they failed, they start pushing their children to do something what they aspired to do. So that's the reason that you see most of them ending up with engineering colleges, not knowing why they're going there. That's the reason why people end up in MBAs not knowing why they're going there. And heart of heart, if you ask 80% of the people that did they really want to do engineering, did they really want to do what they're doing, the answer would be no. So probably you wanted to be a potter, probably you wanted to be an artist. I don't think we're open to that. Second, IT industry is something which is thriving. So every parent wanted his or her son to or daughter to finish engineering and then get into IT. Immaterial of they did civil engineering or mechanical engineering or electronics engineering, they went into IT. It is kind of herd mentality. So you never gave the freedom to think. You never empowered the child to think on his own. I'm sure if this fundamental thing changes in parents, you will see a lot more entrepreneurs coming in, a lot more ideas coming in, a lot more people pursuing what they want to do. In this country especially, very less people get to do what they actually want to do in life and what their heart wants them to do, what they're happy doing something. They're not they're not given the freedom. So that one freedom was the biggest platform for me to launch myself. And second, the fire is to unshackle away from the middle class family, do something different, at least try. I didn't want to, die thinking that I didn't try. I did try. And I'm sure if you put a purpose and you start running behind the purpose, you will make it happen. It's not like you will find the guys you want to connect to, you will not complain on what I didn't have and why I did not succeed. And the minute you stop complaining, and the minute you start thinking that you need to make it successful, you will leave no stone unturned to make sure that succeeds. I'm not saying we are successful, and we're a very small company, we are still growing, but if you look behind everybody, we made people to believe that they're entrepreneurs. People who joined us, they're part of this company as shareholders. They all think of this company as theirs and they run it. So I think it's all about the attitude and your approach to life. Capital was there and I could find it, but it was not in the quantum that we wanted. Talent again was there and you had to go behind. There's no obstacle as such. I mean, if you see, except the fact that market was going through the worst time in the last 5 years, the worst recession, it was headwinds all the way for us. So, but it seasoned us as people. I wouldn't call anything an obstacle as such. Empowering an individual with his finances, and finance means managing his money right from his expenses, investments, long-term planning of his investments, simplifying this entire thing to an average Joe on the street and ensure that he is as well informed and he is as well empowered as an institutional guy. Second, why average Joe? Because 1 lakh rupee is as important to me, or 1,000 rupees is as important to me as 1 crore rupee for a high net worth individual. So I need to protect that 1,000 rupees as much as he protects his 1 crore. So that empowerment is something that I am seeking, and that's what we want to give for everyone. So integrate his banking, his finances, his expenses, and all that into one platform and help him manage it better. We have a lot of street smart people. In the last 7 years, I haven't come across a single obstacle in the form of a regulation or in the form of a rule which has made me think twice of doing business in this place. So I have not come across. maybe we're too smart to look at policy level things which is going to change our life. Number one. Number two, I can proudly say that till date, in the last 7.5 years of my entrepreneurship journey as Market Simplified, we haven't come across or we haven't encountered corruption, and we haven't paid a single rupee of bribe. We haven't encountered corruption as an obstacle at all. There's a lot of myth around the obstacles. Infrastructure is a problem, yes, but there is some other entrepreneur who's going to come and fix it. Electricity is a problem, but there are people who are coming into that businesses as well. It is a growing economy, and I haven't come across an obstacle. I'm seeing more opportunities. But yes, going forward, for entrepreneurs, the only message that I will give is don't give up, and don't ever cross the well half-hearted. Just jump, take a jump. Don't look for harnesses, look for safety nets and everything to take a jump. Entrepreneurship is about taking that one risk, which is jumping into entrepreneurship, and after that your life changes. You have to make that one decision, and once you've made that decision, don't look back. Persistence is the key to entrepreneurship. Stay at it all the time. Stay hungry all the time. And find the minute you put the purpose beyond yourself and your goal beyond yourself, you will see that you will find ways and means of achieving the goal. Don't be rigid about how you want to achieve the goal. There are two things which have happened. So, last 5 years, the industry took a different tangent, different turn, the VC industry. A lot of VCs turned into PE investors, and they became more risk averse, and they started investing in secondary market transactions in public limited companies rather than actually investing in startups. Now again the change has started, and you're seeing more angel investors come in place. Angel investors, you don't have to go seek for angel investors like one big businessman who's got fat deep pockets and then ask him to invest in your business. Not necessary anymore. In Chennai you have angel investor network. In Bombay you have an angel network where you can go and pitch your ideas. These have become an organized sector where people with deeper pockets come and assemble in a place, and then where you can go pitch your ideas. All this was non-existent 10 years back, 15 years back. And today you have these and also you're seeing changes in the angel networks and investors to look for social driven causes. They're investing in brick and mortar businesses, they're investing in food businesses. So the idea of investment is changing big time, and I think once you have angel networks changing the way they invest, then obviously these businesses have to graduate, grow, and then start seeking capital from larger venture capitalists. So they'll also start tuning themselves to, it's like a fifth standard teacher waiting for the first standard kid to pass second, third and fourth, and then you'd wait in the fifth standard door. So you know what kind of kids are going to come in right now. So the teacher is also molding themselves. So mentors are molding themselves now. Every business used to be focused only on IT and e-commerce. Now things are changing. Now people coming out of business schools are also changing themselves. They're looking at food, they're looking at rural development, rural entrepreneurship development. Many things are happening now. So I think that if a guy passes out of a business school today and comes out on the street, chances of him bumping into more entrepreneurs today and than what it was 10 years back. I think Indian government needs to look at economies which opened up while protecting their local businesses. And we need to take examples from, smaller countries to large countries, right from Singapore to bigger countries, manufacturing countries like China or Korea, Taiwan. I think we need to be more open about reforming our tax structures. We still run the tax engine so rigid. We don't want to, as an economy or as a country, think more disruptive about reducing the tax, widening the tax net, and then getting getting more people to look at this country as a destination to invest. We're extremely rigid, and the opportunity is so huge that we want to protect the opportunity, and we need disruptive reforms to come in, and only that can bring in more people to come and look at India as a destination, because the opportunity as India as a destination is huge. You don't get so much returns on any business anywhere in the world, and you don't have potential to grow any business anywhere in the world. In the sense, we don't have roads, we don't have electricity, we don't have infrastructure. In every sector you talk about, you have opportunity, because your population is to your advantage today. But you need to also develop this population and community along because you need to help them with their buying power. But it needs a lot more deeper thinking in terms of tax reforms and helping the world look at India as an opportunity. I think we are yet to be there. Persistence, put purpose ahead of money, put purpose ahead of yourself. Entrepreneurship also involves a social, there is a social angle to this. You are creating jobs. You have to start thinking and look beyond yourself and think for others. Think for your customers, think for your employees, think for your stakeholders, and always keep the purpose ahead of you.